el fenómeno que todos quieren ser, el chamaquito que no pueden entender. How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 120 of the Exec Talk podcast. I am your host, El Velez. Happy 4th of July Independence Day here in the United States of America. Shout out 1776, the Declaration of Independence. Shout out to the 55 delegates that signed that thing, sent that shit to England, said we are done. And then, of course, the Revolutionary War, that we beat the Redcoats. Probably biggest day in American history if you think about the country. Weird how some people don't celebrate it, even though it's a federal holiday. I know people that are working today, which I think is weird on Independence Day, especially in the country that you're living in. But, that's what private enterprises do. They could take matters into their own hands. And just like when in private schools, people didn't have to take the FCAT or any standardized test that came from the state. Same thing with private companies. They can just set their own holidays and stuff like that. So, but shout out to, America. We're slowly building up to that superpower again. I won't say that we are there yet. There's been a lot of damage done over the last few years. But I think we're on the right path of recovery. So election year, which is important. Yes, I do vote. I'm not one of those clouded people that, decide not to vote and still say that the country is somewhat shit or, bad. Like, I put my word in, even though sometimes you think like maybe your word is not worth anything because there's two types of votes. There's the popular vote, which is your vote. And then there's the electoral college. I'm not going to explain that here. We're not in a civics class, but shout out, happy 4th of July to everybody. If you guys pop fireworks, that's fire. If it rains where you are, try to do it anyway. Try to light up something. If the rain don't allow you, celebrate it in other ways. But we're celebrating America today, and we're probably celebrating a lot of America's pastime today because this is going to be a quick episode. We're just going to hit on a couple of things. There hasn't been a lot of things happening, especially free agency-wise, basketball-wise. There's a couple of rumors about DeMar DeRozan maybe going to the Heat. We have to talk about LeBron getting a $104 million 2-year contract with a player option and a no-trade clause while he's about to be 40. Okay? Let me repeat that again. They gave him a 2-year, max $104 million contract with a no-trade clause and a player option for the last year. And he's going to be 41 years old. Listen, if you guys think that the Lakers have any shot in the next 4 years, I'm sorry that you live under a rock. Okay? I'm sorry. You just do. Okay? There is no way that you guys, because you guys are a very specific bunch that love the Lakers to no end and think that they have everything possible. Although Dalton Connect is going to be a way better version of Austin Reeves. Although Bronny James, to me, will develop into a solid, if not a good, I don't know about great yet. I don't know about star, but a good rotation player or a good defender at the next level. You still got the problem of you got no picks till like 2030. And you also have the problem that every year that LeBron's on your team, you're looking to do something to improve that team. But at the same time, picture this. LeBron took a $104 million contract and 2 years just to stay under the second apron. Are you telling me that you got one playoff win in the first round last year and you are scraping under the second apron of the luxury tax and salary cap penalties? You ain't going nowhere. What you got is what you got. You don't got no young superstar. You don't got no Ant. You don't got no Luka. You don't got no Jokic. You don't got SGA. You don't got none of that shit. You don't even got De'Aaron Fox. You know what I'm saying? You got a 40-year-old LeBron James, a 31-year-old AD, which should be the focal point of the offense, and I think that's what JJ Redick is going to do. And then you got a bunch of pieces. D'Lo, you don't want him there. Austin Reeves, can he step up maybe with JJ Redick? He can turn into more of a scorer, more of a facilitator. You know, he's efficient, but at the same time, you know, depending on what JJ wants to do, I think Dalton Connect will be that guy next year that you'll see, like, that you'll be like, oh shit, damn, this guy can hoop. And I'm going to just be on the podcast. I'm going to be like, I told you this guy can hoop. We saw him at Tennessee. This guy dropped 35 7 times. That's just not easy in college. Okay? So, you know, overall, you guys are delusional. And every time I hear something about the Lakers on, you know, First Take or Undisputed or First Things First, this is what I do. Because you guys are talking out your ass. You know, Stephen A., you know, Shannon especially, Mr. LeBron #1 fan himself. It's just like, oh, the Lakers, you know, might do something. The guy I really respect for saying the truth are the insiders. Woj, Tim Bontemps, you know, man, what is this guy's name? I can't believe I forgot his name. It's not Woj, it's the other guy. I don't want to call him fat, but he is a little bit overweight. Because they take pictures of, like, they put memes about him on Twitter, right? Oh, Brian Windhorst. You know, I like them because they're realistic about the situation. The Lakers are not competing for championships anytime soon. Okay? I know you got to push them. I know that the media that's what brings you money, just like the Cowboys. You know, you barely talk about the Yankees, and that's another team that brings in a lot of money. But you talk about the Cowboys, you talk about the Lakers, and there is no aspiration, hope, or even inkling that they can win a championship in the next 4 years. Not happening. Okay? Especially in the West. Put it this way. This is what the Lakers have to overcome over the next 5 years. Granted, these players are getting older and more experience and hitting their primes. Luka is hitting his actual prime this season. He's going to be 26. You still got to deal with, you know, Jokic. He's in his prime. Ant is not in his prime. He's going to be 23 this year or 24. So he's still 3 years away from his prime. And he's insane. SGA is in his prime. He's about to be 26. He's in his prime. And then you got to deal with Wemby. That's 5-6 guys right there. Not to mention De'Aaron Fox. Not to mention Zion. Not to mention Ja. You got no shot. Okay, so I applaud LeBron for being a good businessman, getting max money at 40 years old. Shout out to you. Probably going to outdo Vince Carter for the most played seasons. This would be his 22nd season. Vince played 23, which would put LeBron at 23 at the end of this contract. The thinking is that there's a possibility that Kendrick Perkins said this. He's like, oh, the 2-year contract, what it tells me, and the no trade clause, it basically says, like, I'm taking this year by year. This could be my last year. Next year could be my last year. That's how LeBron is taking it. And I understand that approach. You are 40. You know, your son's in the league. Your other son is going to be in the league in about 2 years in the class of 2026. So overall, you are stamped. There is no way in hell that you guys are getting he's getting a 5th championship with this team. It ain't happening. Okay? So if I'm him, I play it, you know, do the farewell tour whenever I feel ready. You know, and once I leave the game, then you can talk about me as one of the all-time greats. The pressure's not there of winning another ring. The career's going to be over. Then we can just pay respect, homage, and, honor what he gave to the game. Same thing with Curry, same thing with KD. When these guys retire, the new wave has already appeared. I can name 7 guys. I already named 5, and that was all in the West. I named like 8, actually, and that's all in the West. In the East, you got Jalen Brunson, you got Jason Tatum, Giannis, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Tyrese Halliburton. You still got Donovan Mitchell. So you got the young kids coming up too. You got Paolo. So what I mean overall is that the Lakers have no shot. And if I'm JJ Redick, I took this job not to win a championship in the next 2 years. I took this job to stay here more than 10 years and hope I can build a winning culture for championships again, to bring the banners back to the Lakers. Now, it's not going to happen with this team. This team, although they got Dalton Connect, they still can't shoot threes. Even though they were plus 40% in the regular season, once you get to the playoffs, when you really get locked down on, you're not the Boston Celtics. This team, perimeter defensively, you can't keep relying on LeBron. D'Lo can't defend. Austin is pesky defensively, but he's not a great defender. Jared Vanderbilt can't shoot. Can't score, he just can defend. And then you guys saying if we had Jared Vanderbilt against Denver, it would have been different. What would have been different? You're not scoring more points. Oh no, we would have held Denver in check. No, you would not. Jokic would have still be eating that bacon. You ain't stopping Jamal. Jamal was hurt, guys. Most people fail to realize this. Jamal's knee was hurt the entire playoff run. This was not Denver at their full strength. Now, they lost KCP, and that's a very big blow. KCP goes to the Magic. I think, like I said the last podcast, I think that's a very big move for the Magic, because then that really shores up the defensive side of the ball. You have a legit 3-headed monster defensively on the perimeter that you can throw at any guard. You could throw KCP on any guard. You could throw, Jalen Suggs. You could throw Anthony Black. You got legit defenders. And for a team that, CJ Mosley, I believe that's his name. Jamal Mosley. Sorry, not CJ. CJ plays for the Jets. Jamal Mosley, the team prides itself on its defense. I think that overall, the defense will lead to offense. Paolo would get better shooting. Franz will get better. It's just, they're 21, 22. They're still young kids. They're learning the game. They got their first taste of playoff basketball. Took a team to 7. Scrappy, can play well at home. So I expect them to get better too. So even for Boston, this is what I say about Boston. Enjoy it while you can. I don't care what anybody says. Yes, they won the championship. But historically, when you look at the run, they faced hurt teams all 4 rounds. All 4 rounds. People were hurt. And key people. We're not even talking about no role players. We're not talking about Miami had Caleb Martin hurt. And Cleveland had Isaac Okoro hurt. And Indiana had Obi Toppin hurt. Nah. You know who was hurt? Jimmy Butler was hurt. Superstar. Who else was hurt? Donovan Mitchell was hurt. Superstar. Who else was hurt? Tyrese Halliburton was hurt. Superstar. Who else was hurt? Luka Doncic was hurt. He wasn't full strength either. Super duper ooper star. So, if you do this next year, respect. Respect the repeat. Cool. If you guys get smoked in the first, second, or even in the Eastern Conference Finals next year, although even if you get smoked in the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe in 6 games or even in 7 games against Philly or Milwaukee or even the Knicks, I don't think that people will get on you that hard, but I still think people will get on you hard enough where you'll hear it, because then you'll be like, you see, last year was just like, everybody was hurt, so it was an easy path. In the West is a crapshoot, man. In the West, you got Denver. Even though they lost KCP, I still think they're gonna be strong, like become really strong this year, more determined. After coming up short and them wanting to repeat. Minnesota, I think Ant's gonna come with a different type of energy, especially coming off this USA Olympic. Maybe they get the gold, and he's one of the key pieces on the team, and he really comes into his own when it comes to. The thing about Ant, he's still young, so his shot selection and decision-making is not where it could be. We're still the learning process of how to attack coverages and everything. He knows how to do everything, but seeing everything, reps and reps and reps, 4 or 5 years of really dissecting what's happening, him getting in the gym, I think he's going to come like a different type of monster next year, and he's only going to be 23. So, I think that next year Ant's going to push for an MVP. I think that Luka will probably be the favorite just because of what he's been doing, unless Joel Embiid just decides to drop 35 a game again. That can always happen. Wemby could. I don't want to say Wemby can push for an MVP, but they got Chris Paul. That means he's gonna get more points. I see Wemby maybe averaging 25 to 27 next year, over 10 rebounds, over 3 blocks. And if that's what he's doing, granted, he does need help around him. It can't just be a one-man show. But I think he's going to shoot the 3 ball better. He did it at the end of the last season. He was shooting, I think, 40% for the last 20 games. He's going to put the ball on the deck more. He's going to be stronger. He's working on his strength right now, his core. In France right now, he looks like a monster. So, I don't think the league is really ready for what Wemby's about to do. The generational talent stuff from when he was drafted last year, I mean, it still stands, and it stands tall. Surprises next year, you guys are going to think that I'm crazy, but surprises next year could be the Grizzlies. You guys got to remember what Ja Morant is. Ja Morant is 27 and almost 10, on good efficiency. Leading scorer in the paint in the league when he is healthy at 6'2", high flyer, one of the smartest people in the NBA. So watch out for the Grizzlies. Watch out for New Orleans. They got DeJounte Murray. Now you got DeJounte Murray. You got Jose Alvarado. You got rid of Dyson Daniels, which is not a good look. He was a really good defender. He couldn't shoot. He was a really good defender. Now, if they get rid of B.I., which I think they will, I think they'll trade him. Free agency, something, because now they got DeJounte Murray. I think that what they're going to do is they're going to allow Trey Murphy to become way more of a scorer. I think he's going to be like the second scorer behind Zion. I think Zion, if he stays completely healthy, let's say this offseason, if Zion is 240, he doesn't get hurt. If Zion is 250, he probably doesn't get hurt. 260, he can play, but you're still watching anything over 260. You gotta lose weight. I think he was 265 this past year, and at his best, he was fat at the beginning of the season. Like we know that. We saw it in the in-season tournament. That boy was a round ball of snowflakes and snowballs. Eating too much Louisiana food, New Orleans food, but once he got serious about his body, if he gets really serious about his body, and remember, he's not going to the Olympics. He didn't get picked. So, I think he would have been dominant at the Olympics, to be honest. Ja Morant, same thing. Like, there was people that got left off that team. But once you got LeBron, Curry, KD on their last rodeo, you can't really debate that. Maybe I would have put in Ja Morant for D-Book. That's just my personal opinion. I don't need nobody in the comment section saying, you crazy, D-Book better than John Morant. Listen, man, from what I've seen from Devin Booker in pressure playoff situations, closeout games, elimination games, nah, he's not one of them. He's one of them in the regular season, but he's not one of them in the playoffs, man. Even last year, even not this past year, but last year when he shot like 84% from the field for like 2-3 games, what happened? They still lost. The consistency is not there. And Phoenix is running back with this same squad. And I haven't even mentioned that squad. I see that squad just like I see the Lakers. Can they do something? Absolutely. KD, Beal, Booker. But are they going to? No. It's going to be a bunch of false promises. It's going to be a bunch of, wishing on a shooting star for good health, for a good draw in the playoffs. Put it this way. Whoever picks, let's say Wemby makes it to the playoffs next year, which I think it's a real possibility. I think Wemby's that type of dude. If Wemby makes it to the playoffs this year, this next year, and he draws, let's say you draw Phoenix round 1, what are you doing? Now, I know that one guy cannot beat a team, okay? But mainly in the earlier rounds of the playoffs, it can't happen. Luka did it, LeBron, Curry, even Dame. You can get one superstar to get you past round 1. But, man, when you tell me, oh, yeah, the Suns, all they have to do is be healthy and they could be a legit threat. Yeah, that's a big if with a 36-year-old Kevin Durant. That's a big if with Devin Booker's hamstrings being made of paper mache. That's a big if when Bradley Beal's whole body and back is made of paper mache. And then the defense is also questionable. So that's my take on, how the NBA might play out in the next few years with what the star power and the new wave of stars once the old guard finally decides to hang it up. I feel bad for Curry, not because he's not because he's old, he's going to have to retire. No, I feel bad for Curry because he still has some good years in him. But what happens when you build a dynasty, you sacrifice so much of your future to keep that dynasty alive. And we've seen it with every dynasty. We saw it with the Heatles. We saw it with the Lakers. We saw it with Boston. You have to sacrifice. There's 2 ways of going about building an NBA team. You can go all in if you feel like you have the right combination of culture, coach, players, and situation financially to go for it. You look at the 2020 Lakers, 2008 Celtics, even the Heatles with the Miami Heat, like those all-in moves. Okay, that's one way to go get you a title. But it probably only gets you one, unless the team is overwhelmingly crazy. But failed experiments like that are the Clippers, the Nets, to some extent the Philadelphia 76ers when they had Jimmy Butler. Those are failures of going all in. And you look back and you're like, damn, those were bad moves. Those were just not smart moves. And sometimes they are smart moves for the time being, but the results, and this is a results-oriented business, either you win or you lose. There's no participation trophies. That's what I love about sports at the highest level. There is no participation for you. Lost, you lost. You took the L. It is what it is. No matter what circumstances. Like you could tell me, oh, Jimmy didn't play. Took the L. Tyrese took the L. Like my dad told me, it doesn't matter what you think or not. They won on the court. Yes, they won on the court. But questions are going to be brought up about the road. Not in 20 years, but definitely next season if they don't win. Because then you'll be seen as Put it this way. What the Celtics have done, they have put their eggs in a giant nuclear bomb basket. Right now it's going great. So the nuclear bomb is not setting off. It's nice and calm. Everybody's chill. They won. We got a chip. We took the lead in championships in the league again with 18. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. We got Drew Holiday. We got KP. That's all good, fine, and dandy. Now, let me tell you what happens if next year doesn't go the same way. Let's say instead of being a number 1 seed, they're a 3 seed. Let's say that in the first round they get they go against a healthy Orlando, not even Orlando could be up there in the if they're a 3 seed, they're facing the 6 seed. So let's think about who the 6 seed could be. Cleveland, but fully healthy with Jared Allen. I think Milwaukee's going to be higher next year. Philly's going to be in the top 3 next year if they stay healthy. So are the Knicks. So in the East, you could get an easy draw first round. You could. Or you cannot. Because let's look at the 6 teams in the East who can really get those 6 top spots. I'm looking at Milwaukee, Boston, 76ers, Knicks, Pacers, Magic. This is not to mention the Heat, even though we are a hospice facility as a basketball team. I mean that. Supposedly, we're looking to go get DeMar DeRozan. Why are we going to get a guy that shoots from 2, just like Jimmy, and do not upgrade the 3-point shooting? We are going to get blown off the floor by Boston. Same deal. Too many threes. The math will not add up. So I think the Heat are going to go through a little lull here. Just a little lull. Just a couple years of just treading water. We don't have that mega uber star. He's not down the pipeline anywhere. Unfortunately, we don't got one of those guys in this generation so far. And what I mean by that is you have to look at the landscape of the league, and you can kind of pick out what teams are going to be contending for late playoff runs and championships based on who they have and their ages. Our superstar is 34 years old. Tyrese Halliburton's 23. Tyrese Maxey's 22. Joel Embiid is not 30. Jason Tatum's 26. Jaylen Brown is 27. Jalen Brunson's 26. Giannis is not 30. Paolo's 22. So that's all in the East, not to mention the West. So I think what we would find out this season about the Heat is just we're too damn old. We just gave $8 million for 2 years to Kevin Love. This man's going to be 39 at the end of that contract. What are we doing? That is comical. We've been the 8th seed 2 years in a row. That's not good. We made it to the finals 1 year on you could fluke, yes, no, I think so. The shooting we got on a heater in the playoffs. It was definitely not the way we shoot, especially from our role players. And I don't see us beating the Knicks. I don't see us beating Milwaukee. I don't see us beating 76ers. Definitely not Boston. Orlando, maybe. Pacers, they play too fast. I don't have a lot of hope for the Heat. As a Heat fan, it hurts. Because then you turn on to every game and you're like, I hope we beat the Pistons. I hope we beat Chicago. I hope we beat Atlanta. I hope we beat the Wizards. I hope we beat Charlotte. That's what we're hoping for? To beat the garbage teams in the NBA? Wow. What a hope. Because if we go to any regular season game against the 76ers, most likely we're getting bodied. Regular season game against the Milwaukee Bucks, most likely we're getting bodied. Against the Knicks, most likely we're getting bodied. We don't have the star power. Our role players don't match up with their role players. Like if we go roster by roster, every team that I just mentioned's first four, of the best four players on the court, Jimmy's probably the only Miami Heat, maybe Bam. But, not better than Jason Tatum, not better than Jaylen Brown, not better than Jalen Brunson, not better than Dame, not better than Giannis, not better than Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Paul George. Like, what are we doing here? So that's my take on the future of the league and of the Lakers and people like the Suns and Golden State and the Heat. That's my take. Now let's get to Formula One. We're at the Silverstone Grand Prix, or the British Grand Prix, one of the most storied races in the history of racing, period. Definitely a Formula One. We're at the Mecca of Formula One, the birthplace of many champions, including Lewis Hamilton, including Damon Hill, Nigel Mansell, some of the all-time greats, Jackie Eakes, Jackie Stewart, But at the same time, I do not want to see Max Verstappen win this race. I want a British driver to win this race. It's only right. It's only right for Lando. It's only right for George. It's only right for Lewis. Now, if Lewis wins this race, I'd be so happy. I'd be happy for the rest of the year. Because for this to be Lewis's last year at Mercedes in a silver arrow, where at Silverstone he has 6 victories, most of anybody all time, I believe. He has the most poles. He dominates at this track. It's his favorite track. It's his home track. Now let's get to the nitty gritty. Do I believe that Mercedes will give him a car to win? I'm knocking on wood because I feel like they will give the best car to George Russell. Just coming off a win, higher in the points, is going to be there for the long term, is basically the number one driver now that Lewis is leaving. So I don't think that they'll give Lewis the best car. Or set up Lewis with the best car. Now, do I believe that Lewis's driving ability can overcome the car? At Silverstone, yes, because he's so good at that track. But I am very, 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 very afraid of what happened last week and Verstappen and Red Bull coming in with a type of vengeance that we don't see a competitive race. And man, that would be bad for Silverstone. Like, this is one of the races that everybody tunes into. We're talking about 450,000 fans at the track over the weekend. Like, one of the biggest weekends in motorsports is the British Grand Prix. And if Red Bull's at the top step with a 15-second lead, it's just not going to look right, especially heading into the summer break, because after this race, I believe summer break is all the way until August. I think they take 2 weeks off. I'll tell you guys right now, just so I'm not tripping. Let's see here. F1. Hungarian, Austrian Grand Prix, exactly. So the British Grand Prix is this weekend, and then the 19th and the 21st is the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. The next after that is the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa. Then you got the Heineken Dutch Grand Prix, which I believe it's either Zandvoort or Hockenheim. But I believe it's Zandvoort. I don't think they run in Hockenheim anymore. Pirelli Italian Grand Prix, that's at Monza. Azerbaijan, is that Baku? I think that's Baku. Then you have the Yas Marina at Singapore. Then we go to Dallas for the United States Grand Prix. No, actually, I think is that COTA? No, yeah, that's COTA because the Las Vegas Grand Prix is in November. Sao Paulo, which is Belle Isle, I believe. Mexico City, Qatar, and then Etihad at Abu Dhabi with Yas Marine, I believe. So we have a lot of races left, but after this one, after the British Grand Prix, it ends the 7th. We got to wait till the 19th. After that, we have to wait to the Dutch Grand Prix. After the Belgian Grand Prix, July 26th to 28th, we have to wait a month. That's the summer break right there, until the Dutch Grand Prix in August 23rd to the 25th. We have to, at least one of these last 2 to 3 Grand Prix before the summer break, we have to have some type of battle for leading spots. It cannot just be Verstappen. And we got lucky last week with Verstappen getting too aggressive with Lando, them kicking each other out of the race, even though Verstappen still finished 5th. Lando had to retire the car. And we got George Russell as a winner, and it's getting interesting. But if Verstappen has a perfect race, we're not seeing a competitive race. We're seeing a competitive race maybe from second down, but not in first place. And it starts with qualifying. We need somebody else to win qualifying that's not Verstappen, whether it's Lando, even Checo, whether it's Sainz, Lewis, George. It's Oscar Piastri. We need somebody else to head into turn 1, not being Verstappen. Unfortunately, Verstappen does not qualify lower than second very often. I mean, very, very often. Like, at all, ever. It is first or second. Unless he has a technical difficulty, unless, we get lucky and his car's not performing well, like tires are not performing well. Other than that, it's going to be first to second for Verstappen in qualifying. And man, do I hope it's second. As for who I would want to win the pole, I think the guy who can give Verstappen the best run for his money into turn 1 would be Lando. He has the fastest car, compared to Verstappen. It is his home track, so he's going to be super motivated. He's won there before. He won his first. No, his first race was in Miami. He's had great. I think his first podium wasn't at the British Grand Prix. Do I feel like Lewis, if he somehow steps up or they give him the car to win, that Lewis can beat a Red Bull? Absolutely. At that track, I give Lewis everything, all the confidence in the world. I am not worried about Lewis at that track. I think we're going to see some track limits. We saw some last year. There is passing zones, but you got to be very careful. It's a tricky track, legendary track. I'm very, very excited for the British Grand Prix, even though I'm very, very, very scared and nervous that Verstappen is just going to dominate. It's just what it is. Just how I feel. Next, we go to NASCAR. NASCAR, we're going to Chicago, but not the Chicagoland Speedway. They don't run there no more. We're going to the streets of the Windy City where SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, 3-time V8 Cup Supercar champion in Australia, came last year to run his first race in NASCAR and put on an absolute show in the rain on the streets of Chicago. Do I expect that again? Very much so. Now, do I expect Kyle Larson, A.J. Allmendinger, Reddick, Chase, who else? Daniel Suarez. Do I expect those guys to show up and try to dethrone SVG? Yes. Do I see it being successful? No. And the reason why, and I'm fairly confident in this unless he crashes out, I think he'll have great qualifying and everything. The reason why is because SVG, when he was in Australia running V8 supercars, most of their tracks on are street tracks. So bumps, cracks, walls being 2 inches away from the car. Like, that's very normal for him. And the way he ran it last year, I mean, he just ran it faster than everybody. Like, He passed in places that people weren't passing. The way that he took corners and he took like the way he goes into corners is very, very unorthodox for the American stock driver, technique. There's a lot of movement in the wheel for NASCAR drivers over here when they're turning. If you look at SVG first of all shifts differently. He heel toes a lot. That's how exclusively how he drives. He heel toes. He doesn't, when he's going through corners, he doesn't power shift. He's heel toeing with the brake. And then at the same time, he's taking in corners where, like, you got to think about a NASCAR car. It's pretty wide, okay? Chicago's not that wide, especially in corners. This man comes into an apex almost dead straight. And because of his experience in how to drive through the streets and how to drive fast on street circuits, you really see it. I mean, he gets 2-3 tenths a lap when he's up front in clean air. He can pass anybody. He'll run him down. He ran him down last year from third. He was like 4 seconds behind and ran him down and won easily. I mean, once he got to the front, it was bye-bye. Battle for second. So I'm very excited. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Hopefully we have a sunny race. The rain was cool last year, but it was a lot of slipping and sliding and stuff like that. So hopefully this year it's sunny and they can really go full bore. But I'm very confident in SVG. If not, if I had to pick a dark horse or even just somebody else to win out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but just win, Kyle Larson would be up there for me. AJ Allmendinger, who finished second last year, would be up there for me. Tyler Reddick, I think those would be my 3 other people that I would pick to win besides SVG. Now, we talked about Bronny. He got a $7.9 million contract, basically the richest contract ever for a 55th pick when their two-way contracts average like $600K. Do I feel like Bronny is going to get some minutes next year? Maybe some garbage time minutes. They're definitely going to play him with his dad. It's going to happen. Probably against like garbage teams like I can't even say the Spurs because of Wemby, but the Wizards, Charlotte, even though they're in the West, they're not facing them that much. So in the West, I mean, if you want to face a crappy team, I would say maybe Portland is a crappy team. Yeah, Portland. And that's if their kids don't wake up. Scoot, I think will be better. Shaden Sharp will be healthy. Anthony Simons will be better. They got Donovan Clingan. So if I'm looking at the West, and I know I'm talking about the NBA a lot and it's over, but like if I'm looking at the West, like the West is literally wide open. You thought it was wide open this last year. We had like 10 teams, vying for playoff spots, and it was close to the end. I think this year, with the addition of the Spurs, and if Portland wakes up or Jazz, even though we're hearing that Lauri Markkanen is getting pursued by the Warriors, which if you go back months ago, especially during the play-in and when they lost, I said, if there's a player that I would like for the Warriors to go after is Lauri Markkanen. I've been said that. You can go back, if you want to test what I know, you can go back to that take right there and see that, that's what I was thinking, because he's a 6'11", almost 7 foot. He's a sharpshooter. He can put the ball on the floor. He rebounds. He can pass. It'd be a great addition, especially now losing Clay to Dallas. I think that, with the addition, they're also trying to go after Buddy Hield, which is another thing I said. If they lost Clay, I said, maybe watch out for Buddy Hield. He's probably the most consistent three-point shooter out there. That's not a super-duper, super-ooper megastar. I mean, you could look at Luke Kennard and people like that, but that's very like spotty. Buddy takes like 7 to 8 threes a game, so it's high volume shooting with a high clip of efficiency. Do I think that the Warriors will be contending next year? That's a tough thing to say because that means that I have to project Brandon Pajinski, Trace Jackson Davis, Kuminga to be at another level, above this year. Andrew Wiggins to play like his 2022 self, hopefully. Draymond to not seem old on the defensive end. Curry, I don't worry about Curry. He's he's in great shape even for a 36-year-old. But 36 years old, you can get injured, even though I believe in his healthiness. And then, the bench. And then just the competition in the West is honestly, probably my biggest concern. But overall, I think that the NBA offseason so far has been pretty interesting. Clay to Dallas made sense. Mikal Bridges to the Knicks made sense. PG to the 76ers made sense. KCP to Orlando made sense. What doesn't make sense is the Miami Heat signing old farts. Wanting to get DeMar DeRozan, extending Kevin Love. Like, I don't get it. But I guess, in that office, Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra got that master plan with Zoe and Udonis Haslem. One can hope. That it works. I don't see it, though. All right. Last but not least, we're going to move on to baseball. Actually, no, we're going to talk a little bit about Copa America and, because we're getting into the finals, quarterfinals of these great tournaments. We're right before the start of the Olympics in July. We're already in July, so the Olympics, I believe, start July 16th, I believe. We're going to be covering that. We're going to be covering, USA's running and track and field, the swimming, Ledecky, basketball. We're going to be covering, seeing if we can, we have a tough road in basketball this year. France, Germany, Canada, still got Lithuania, you still got Slovenia, you still got Serbia, Cameroon, Australia. You got some teams. Do I feel like we have the best team? Absolutely. But we still got to show it. We got gold medalists all over, but we got to show it. Multiple time gold medalists. So if we go to Copa America, Argentina, Ecuador, today at 9 p.m. Argentina's going to win that. It's just what it is. Okay, you don't need me to explain why Argentina's going to win this game. Venezuela, Canada, I expect Venezuela to win this to head to the semifinals against Argentina, which would be hellacious, but a semifinals run for Venezuela would be incredible, and I think that they are going to do it. Colombia, Panama, I see Colombia winning that. I think that if I'm being completely honest, I believe that the final will be some combination of Argentina, Colombia, Argentina, Uruguay, Argentina, Brazil. That's what I see the final as. If we go to, and Uruguay, Brazil, I got, man, I'm probably going to piss off some people, but I think I got Uruguay. Brazil hasn't been showing me, they don't have Vinny. They haven't been showing me that they really want it. I think I got Uruguay. I think I got the 15-time champs in that game. That game is it today? I'll tell you guys right now. Is it today? I was just seeing it. That game is Saturday, Uruguay, Brazil, at 9 p.m. on FS1. Yeah, I got Uruguay, man. No Vinny is hard, man. If you don't got your best player and you're facing a team that has been there, done that before, it's tough. it's tough not having your Champions League, scorer, young, top 3 player in the world. I think it's tough. I think Uruguay has a really good team. Not saying that Brazil doesn't, but like Brazil should be dominating some of these teams, and they really have not. It's really surprising to see. You got Rafinha, you got Vinicius Jr., and you haven't been able to just dominate. Brazil is a team that is supposed to dominate all the way to the semifinals and finals, where you face a Uruguay, where you face a Argentina, and then you get like a challenge and everything like that. But Brazil this time around has not been Brazil. The green machine. It has not. It just hasn't been dominant. So I think Uruguay has a good shot at winning this game on Saturday. Like I said, a lot of people might not like that opinion, but I'm just saying from what I've seen, that's what it's looking like. If we go to the Euro League, the Euros, which I'm trying to find here. I don't know why they stick it all the way so down here. European Championship. Okay. So Friday, quarterfinals. Spain, Germany. Yeah, I got Spain. I got Germany. Sorry, I almost said Spain. I got Germany. I just think that they have a more complete team. They got scores. They got the best goalie in the world, in my opinion. So I have Germany. Now, the big game, and why I say it's a big game is because it's the old guard of greatness versus the possible new guard of greatness. Portugal and a 36-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo. I believe he's 36 now, if not 37. A 36 to 37-year-old Ronaldo versus a 24, 25-year-old Mbappe. Portugal, France, Friday, 3 p.m. on Fox. Everybody's going to be watching this game. Everybody's going to be watching Spain, Germany as well. It's at 12 tomorrow as well. I am a Ronaldo super, uber, duper fan. Okay? But I know what France brings to the table. You got Griezmann, Mbappe, Sane, I believe. You have a great goalie. I expect France to win. Now, can Portugal win? Absolutely. Talking about Ronaldo here. Of course Portugal can win. But coming off of that emotional, last group stage matchup or round of 16 matchup, where your goalie had to save 3 penalty kicks and Ronaldo misses a penalty kick with in the 104th minute to win the game. Coming out of that emotional win, can they be a little winded? Absolutely. Can France blow them out the water? Absolutely. Do I see that happening? No. This could end 1-0. This could end 2-1. I don't see this. It could possibly go to penalties, but I don't think it goes to penalties. There's too many aggressive. Somebody will make a mistake. Somebody will turn the ball over in their own half. A goalie will make a mistake. A defenseman will make a mistake. A run will get caught, whether it's Ronaldo or Mbappe. Somebody's going to catch a run and definitely get scoring opportunities. I expect a lot of shots on goal because of the offensive firepower that each team has. So do I see this ending 1-0? Not really, but can it? Yes. But I think I have France in this game. They're a plus 130 right now, plus 140 money line, plus 220 for Portugal. So I think Mbappe in France gets it done, and I think from there it's going to be France versus Germany in the final. England, Switzerland is a toss-up. I'm going to go England. I love Bellingham. I love what he's been doing. I'm going to go England. I love Switzerland, Landowski, and, I don't know if Shaqiri's playing. Yeah, I don't know if Shaqiri's playing at all, actually. Um, but Harry Kane, Bellingham. I think that England has the squad to make it deep into the knockout stage, and then Netherlands, Turkey. I got Netherlands. You got Kevin De Bruyne, Leet, and you got against Turkey. I think Netherlands got that. Moving on to the MLB, we have our all-star teams, and it's pretty much what I expected. Besides a couple of surprises, not giant surprises, but some surprises. So if we go to the National League, we get William Contreras. By far, he's been the best catcher in the league besides Adley Rutschman, but we're talking about the National League. Bryce Harper, absolutely. Ketel Marte, absolutely. Trey Turner is interesting because he came after injury, and he's been putting up some great numbers. But if I'm looking at shortstops in the National League, you got people like, shortstops. There's not a bigger name in the National League than Trey Turner. Everybody's in the American League, Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson, all the big boys. Excuse me. Trey Turner makes sense. Alec Boehm, absolutely. He's been hitting the shit out of the ball all year, super consistently. Now, left fielder Jerickson Profar. I feel like this is because of an injury. I don't, because Christian Yelich is in center field. You got Fernando Tatis Jr. in right field. That left field, I believe, was Mookie Betts. So, Jerickson Profar, it's a significant step down from Mookie Betts. And then DH Shohei Ohtani, and that's not even a question. So overall, I would say that Trey Turner and Jerickson Profar are my two, okay. Because if we look at the National League, and this is also a popularity contest, it's not just, how's your season going? But if we look at the National League, Trey Turner, you got Francisco Lindor, he's been having a great season. C.J. Abrams been having a great season. Adames. You got Mason Wynn, O'Neal Cruz, Ellie De La Cruz, Dansby Swanson. You got some good shortstops, but I guess Trey Turner is the biggest. You got Ezekiel Tovar, but they suck. You got Zach Neto, Corey Seager, Pena, J.P. Crawford. You got that's all AL, what I just named that at the end. But I guess Trey Turner deserves it. If we look at Trey Turner's stat line, I don't think it's a stretch to call him an all-star. We go to Trey Turner here. We got a 340, a batting average of 342, 5 home runs, but he's really not a home run guy, although if he's healthy, he can be. He has 18 RBI. So this is the thing. If you come hurt, you've played 47 games of the possible, what, they're at 83 now, 86, almost to the 90 game mark. So you played 47 games. Why are you the all-star shortstop? Somebody has to be hurt. 342 is incredible for 47 games. I'm not taking anything away from him. At all-star 47 games, I just think is a little iffy for people like Tovar, who hasn't gotten hurt all year. Even Adames, Ellie, Mason Wynn, Francisco Lindor, CJ. To me, it's just a little interesting, but not mad at it. Now, Jerickson Profar. That is, I think, an injury move. I think Jerickson Profar is an injury move because of Mookie. Although they move Mookie all over the place, I think that, they might move Mookie all over the place, but I think left field is one of his best. He has a Gold Glove out there. But since he's hurt, I think that's the reason why Jerickson Profar is out there in left field. Other left fielders, you got Colorado, but they suck. You have Atlanta, but no Ronald Acuna, which would also be that spot as well. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. I could definitely see why left field was Jerickson Profar. I mean, in the National League, there's not a lot to pick from because they're both hurt. So, let's go to the AL. In the AL, Adley Rutschman, no-brainer. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., no-brainer now. Was a little bit shaky at the beginning of the season, but right now he's hitting really hard, playing great defense. So I'm not mad at it. Jose Altuve's been playing great. He's almost hitting 300, if not hitting 300. Gunnar Henderson is the MVP leader right now with Aaron Judge in the AL and Bobby Witt. Jose Ramirez has been absolutely hitting the shit out of the ball this year, scoring, putting in runs, RBIs. He's the leader in RBIs, I believe, in the league right now as it stands with like almost, if he's not at 80, he's close. Which is crazy, at the beginning of July to have 80 RBI. That means you're going to, you're on a pace of like 160, which is insane. I think he'll probably end up with like 120, maybe close to 140. I don't think he'll hit a 160 mark. That'd be crazy. RBI. Steven Kwan has been hitting the absolute shit out of the ball. He's hitting like with 367. Good slugging. Can't get him out, can't strike him out, so he definitely deserves. He's a Gold Glover out there in the left field. He's been playing great. Center field, Aaron Judge is not even close. He's above his pace from his 63 home run season by one home run at the same spot. So the guy's absolutely going ham. Juan Soto's been going ham. I think he leads the league in on base percentage, as he always does. And then DH Jordan. He's been hitting the shit out of the ball all year as well. Even went through a little lull, but now he's Jordan again. So if I'm picking who has a stronger lineup, I have to definitely pick the American League. Pitchers haven't been announced yet, which I'm kind of little irritated about. Just a little. But overall, I think that pitching-wise, we're looking at in the AL, Corbin Burns, maybe John Gray, definitely Tanner Houck, Luis Hill. Let me see, because I love my pitchers, but I got to remember them. Corbin Burns, maybe Grayson Rodriguez, Luis Hill, Tanner Houck, maybe Cutter Crawford, Berrios, maybe Tanner Bybee, maybe Pablo Lopez, maybe Cole Reagans for sure, Seth Lugo for sure, Tariq Skubal, no-brainer. He's probably the starter in the AL. If not, it's Garrett Crochet because he should be an all-star as well. You got Kirby, you got Gilbert, Ronel Blanco should be on the team, John Gray, maybe Nathan Eovaldi. So the pitching staff on the AL is pretty strong. If we look at the NL, Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, pick any of them from the Phillies. Atlanta, Fried, Sale, for sure. Mets don't have really anybody. You could make a case for Mackenzie Gore for Washington. Milwaukee, you could make a case for Freddie Peralta, Rhea maybe. St. Louis, Micah is having pitching well. So has Lance Lynn, but I don't think that they've done. Sonny Gray, probably gets in. Pittsburgh should be Paul Skeens. I don't even think it should be a question if he makes it in or not as an all-star. That's just me, though. Just saying. I think Polskin should be an all-star. The guy is incredible. Cincinnati, nah, they don't have a pitcher that can go. You know, you look at Abbott, you look at, uh, Hunter Green hasn't been himself all year. I mean, he's been having great starts the last few, but he hasn't been himself. It hasn't been Hunter Green. Lodolo hasn't been Lodolo. Chicago, Shota, for sure. I mean, Shota should be an all-star. The Dodgers could be Yamamoto's hurt, so Bobby just came back. Can't be him. You have like Gavin Stone. Tyler Glass now should be the starter probably for the National League. If I had to pick a starter, you have Dylan Cease for San Francisco. Maybe he makes it in. Arizona, I don't think Brandon Pfaadt makes it in. San Francisco, maybe Logan Webb. Colorado, I don't think has anybody. So overall pitching, I think I'm leaning AL. Tarek Skubal, Crochet, Reagans, Heel, Burns, Houck. That's tough. As for the wild card right now, the Yankees are 6 ahead of Minnesota for that first wild card spot. Baltimore has put 2 games between them and New York. Boston's 8.5 back. Right now, the AL wildcard is New York, Minnesota, KC. Boston being a half game back of KC. Everybody else being 3 games or more back. A tough team that I see here that might not make the playoffs after winning a championship is the Texas Rangers. They're 8 back in the American League wildcard in their own division. They're 7 back of Seattle, 5 back of Houston for the second spot. So that's looking iffy. Atlanta's 3.5 games up on San Diego, which is a half game up on St. Louis, and then the Mets are 2 games back of St. Louis for that last spot. Arizona's 2.5, and everybody else all the way until the Washington Nationals are 4 or less. Chicago 6 back. Overall, still very exciting. I like the all-star rosters. We'll see when the reserves come out and the pitchers, who's starting, who's the closer. If I had to pick a closer right now, it'd probably be Diaz from Cincinnati. Maybe Kimbrel or Jansen. They've been playing great this year. Mason Miller, the Reaper, I think should get a shot at making the all-star team, even though he's a rookie. You got Doval, but he's gotten hit a little bit. Seawald hasn't played enough, and he's gotten hit a little bit. So I think Kimbrel and Jansen have a legit shot of making it as closers. Raisel Iglesias, of course, for Atlanta. And then I believe the closer for the Baltimore Orioles is Yanier Cano, and he's been playing pretty well. But other than that, thank you guys. Episode 120. Happy 4th of July. I love you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the comments. I'm gonna be posting clips regularly now. I'm working. I've been working on that to get you guys clips. To get the channel bigger, so we can do better things and more greater things and get our name out there. So I love you guys. Thank you for all the support, and I'll leave you all with the outro. Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no pueden